Okay, it's been a while since I've done a live broadcast through Instagram. I think I'm going to start doing that again because it's taking too long for me to load up everything directly from my camera, even though I like the sync that occurs directly from my iPhone. But anyway, I just wanted to talk real quick. I'm going to try to keep it short. Typically, I've been doing 30-minute videos. I'm trying to cut it down to like 10 minutes. So hopefully I can cover that all in 10 minutes right now. I just wanted to talk about what President Trump has decided to do with Afghanistan. I'm seeing a lot of people that are disappointed with what President Trump is doing, but I want you to hear me out. I was at first a little bit disappointed, but I know a lot more about what's going on in that area, and I think that Afghanistan also connects to North Korea. Okay, so you have to keep in the back of your mind the fact that China is situated in a very large area in Asia, right? And we recently been dealing with North Korea, which is like a little peninsula off of the. Maybe I should do it this way because I think that this is going to flip around doing a live broadcast on Instagram. So anyway, you have China here and you got a little peninsula with the... No, maybe it was right. Maybe it was here. A little peninsula here with the North Korea. Oh, man, did it cut out? Nope, looks like it's still going. Okay, so I got a little peninsula here with Korea on it, and you have North Korea right next to China and South Korea. North Korea is causing us problems, and he was able to scare North Korea into backing away from doing the nuclear shot on Guam. However, China is using North Korea, like I said in one of my other videos, as leverage against the Western civilization, basically, to keep communism in China. They don't want the U.S. coming up and getting control of North Korea and then converting it to be wealthy just like South Korea, so that now China has this big peninsula coming off of it, threatening its communism with Western ideas. That's why China tries to control Google, tries to control Apple, tries to control all of these social media platforms just like Facebook, and they're actually expanding into the United States now because a lot of their plans of controlling the social networks in China are being expanded into the U.S. So you're starting to see like YouTube cutting off our videos because somehow those videos get into China too. So China's the big influencer right now. The solar eclipse to me has been not only a symbolic but an actual passing of power from Western civilization to the Eastern civilizations, or basically to the communist civilization, in particular China. So the eclipse today was symbolic, and what I'm seeing is because of China's influence, we're having problems with North Korea. You'll see President Trump talk with President Xi Jinping, and it seems like China's working with us, but then when China releases a statement, it's kind of confusing what they're trying to say. It's like they'll allow North Korea to launch a missile, but then they'll attack us if we launch a missile on North Korea first. And but if North Korea launches a missile, they won't attack if we attack, and they won't stop it. It's just really confusing what China wants, but I know what China wants. China wants North Korea to test the military response of the United States, and that is a big problem. So back to Afghanistan. We have another ally on the other border of China. So we got Korea here, the Korea's here on the Atlantic Ocean portion, and then you got India butting China here on the southwestern regions of China. And right now if you're looking at some of the news reports, which our news isn't even reporting, on the border there of India and China, there's some disputed regions that the militaries of both countries are actually going at it over. Yikes. What just happened here? There. The militaries of both countries, I told you, see my phone's waking up. The militaries of both countries are going at it over these disputed regions. So India is actually a major ally of ours, and Pakistan is right next to India, and then guess what's next to Pakistan? Afghanistan. All right, so let's go back in time. No, before I do that. So India is our ally. They're fighting China over here. We're fighting China over here on the Korean Peninsula. And if India, and right now India is a major influencer of China, and it's an ally of ours. So it's semi-Western culture, even though their culture is still a socialist nation. They have a caste system where they don't even honor people who are beneath a certain class. So they have a class system, which is similar to communism, and yet they're our ally. And so I want people to realize that. So what Donald Trump is doing is actually playing 4D chess. Before I go back in time, another problem that's going on in Afghanistan that the Trump administration has been talking about and is trying to tackle is the problem with opiates. Okay, opium production started by the Taliban in Afghanistan and ramped up 400% since George Bush's administration went in there 16 plus some years ago and failed to complete Afghanistan. The Bush administration created a lot of problems, and the Obama administration made them worse. Bush administration created the problems by going into regions and not completing the fight there, then expanding somewhere else because they're neoconservatives and they want to fight wars everywhere. So they expanded the war in Afghanistan to Iraq, and they didn't complete Afghanistan. Then they did this shock and awe campaign in Iraq, and then they didn't complete anything there. They just kept running along, and in the wake of all the damage, the terrorist organizations started to get footholds. Then Obama came in, started expanding our regime changes to other nations like Syria and Libya and Egypt, and they started sending our troops everywhere to take out the heads of the leaders of other countries and causing chaos there. And that's how we got the Syrian refugee problem, because at the time when Obama first got in, President Assad of Syria was inviting President Obama to come talk, to come to Syria and tour the country. He was actually inviting America in. And at that time, if you go back and you look at those videos on YouTube, don't listen to a leftist who doesn't know what they're talking about. Actually go on the videos and listen to Assad welcoming Obama in, and look at what Syria looked like at that time. It was very wealthy. It looked very good. But then the United States had to go in and cause war there and try to remove Assad. As it was successful in removing all the heads of the other regimes, it was unsuccessful in removing Assad, and there's been so much war in Syria since that they created the refugee program. Plus, Obama was funding the terrorists that had taken a foothold in the countries. Hey, what's up, Maria? I'm just doing a quick geopolitical commentary on what President Trump did in Afghanistan, because a lot of people don't like it, and I'm trying to say why he's doing it. Anyway, so the Obama administration helped to form ISIS because they were funding the Free-Syrian Army, which was basically Al-Qaeda. And in the vacuum, when they pulled troops out of Iraq, Al-Qaeda took over Iraq and made that their headquarters and started getting all these other little terrorist groups to form with them, and they created ISIS. They created ISIS. That's how ISIS formed, and that's how the Syrian refugee formed. It's from Obama creating a vacuum and attacking other places. So what Trump is dealing with here is multiple levels of chess that I think this is excellent. Now, they've got General Mattis. McMaster's, yeah, he's a neoconservative, but he's got General Kelly and McMaster's and Mattis all on the same page. I think this is an excellent finalizing of Afghanistan and exit plan. I think this is a great way for us to pull out. By the way, Maria, side note, I love all the food that you've been posting. It's great. Okay, so back to Afghanistan. So we have the issue with India here, and then Pakistan is a problem of harboring terrorists. If we can bring Pakistan onto our page and instead of just giving them money, get them doing the same things that India is doing, and then get them to join back together and stop fighting over the Kashmir region in between India and Pakistan, and get them to kind of like cut their differences and stop their aggressions against each other, and kind of get them allied together and show them there's a benefit to them allying together, and then help rebuild Afghanistan, and then get them to pay us the resources from rebuilding Afghanistan, and have Afghanistan form its own strong country. Then we have three allies on the side of China, where we can influence China and put pressure on China, because China right now is doing nothing on behalf of North Korea. And so I think Trump is using Afghanistan now as a little lever, saying, okay, you play nice with us, China. When we want you to talk to North Korea and stop this pointing that gun at us, you talk to them, or we're going to missile them. And I don't want to missile them, because the leftists have falsely accused me of being a person who doesn't know how to control himself and has now the keys to the nuclear sites, which he does. And Trump has demonstrated magnificently that he doesn't abuse that power. And the leftists hate it, so they try to get him on Russian collusion, which they failed miserably. Now you notice they're not talking about it. And now you're noticing that because they talked about it in the past, we're starting to see all the connections of the Democrats to Russian collusion. So it's backfiring on them. So the leftists are fighting tooth and nail here at home, and Trump is now trying to take it away from home, go out overseas, solve problems overseas to calm down the left, get them to shut up. You know, really, they're like trying to say he's incompetent, but they haven't really given any examples. And if you try to have an intelligent discussion with the leftists, all they do is shut you down. They don't want to have an intelligent discussion because they don't know how to have intelligent discussions. They only know how to call you a racist or a bigot or a xenophobe, which they don't even probably know the definitions of those words. You know, trying to get Russia out of our country is a very xenophobic thing in itself, you know, and trying to claim that Donald Trump is Jr. is colluding with the Russians is very xenophobic. He's trying to find out any juice on his opponent of his father. There's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, Afghanistan to me is now our exit strategy. He's not going to tell you what he's going to do. They're going to go do it, and after it's done, then they'll tell you. Unless it's not strategically important. But I think it all has to do with China. China. He told you China is now having to negotiate with the U.S. in trade deals because everything's been stolen from the United States. Instead of the communists here complaining about our country, they should be looking at their own communist comrades overseas who've actually made their lives hell while they live here. The communists here need to start joining in and supporting our president so that we can finally get some of these problems solved around the world. And China has really undercut our economy and everything. They've stolen a lot of money from us by being able to manipulate their currency against ours. And we're in a dangerous time right now. And they're probably not even wanting to let us into this new one belt, one road policy, which is basically the rebuilding of the historical Silk Road that trades with the Middle East and creates super wealth. And we need that right now. Our economy is in big trouble because we got all our people in major debt because of Chinese products and people buying things. And I can't blame China completely for that because our people are at fault for taking loans that they couldn't afford to pay back. But at the same time, China has been flooding us with a lot of goods and services that used to be made here in the United States, but because of their slave labor over there, and you never hear from a leftist complaining about that, they got slave labor over there, they've been able to undercut our employees here to the point where now when our employees want a raise, it actually makes it to the point where our companies will just let our employees go. They don't need employees anymore. They'll just invest in computers at this point and robots to do it because the robots don't complain. So our people have kind of done it to ourselves, but China has been predatory and the banks have been predatory in contributing to it. And I think Trump is doing anything he can do and right now he has a good military team and he can use the military to do economic and business and military and diplomatic solutions overseas that can help to alleviate some of our troubles here and perhaps negotiate new trade relationships with China, who will perhaps now let us into the one belt, one road rebuilding of the Silk Road trade that will help our economy rebuild after all this debt collapses, which is coming. So Trump is playing 4D chess as usual. And people think because Bannon's gone, that Trump has gone neocon on us and gone globalist. Trump's always been a globalist. I'm a globalist, but I don't want globalism that sucks our wealth away. I'm all for one world under Jesus Christ, our Lord, King, and Savior. Not for one world under a group of evil people who want control over everybody else, and they make all the money and they steal it from everybody else. That's the difference between the type of globalism that we support versus the type of globalism that those Satanists are supporting. We want one world where everybody benefits. There are still national borders, and where cultures are preserved, all cultures. When you break down borders and allow illegal immigrants and refugees in, they dilute cultures and cultures disappear, which is absolutely racist, and that is the leftist argument all the time. So I want all that gone. This is my perspective. To me, the cultures of the world are beautiful, and I would much rather live in a world with multiple beautiful cultures than one with one homogenized culture all around the world where we're all one world. Just one same culture. You all eat one food because all other food has disappeared. No, I don't like that. I like living in California where I can have Mexican food, Italian food, Japanese food, Chinese food, Malaysian food, Indonesian food, Egyptian food, Ethiopian food, Jamaican food, Filipino food, Canadian food, any food that you can think of. Korean food, we've got it here in the United States. And this is the kind of globalist I want to be, to have the world be united in seeking our own interests together, but it's all individualistic, and we maintain our individualistic cultures. We don't become communist where we destroy everybody's cultures. Everybody joins the communist fight the power. Everybody's poor. They all have the struggle, and they all have no food. They have no nothing. No choices, and for some reason people like that choice. They want no choice. Watch the movie 1984 and see what that kind of choice is when you get one controlling centralized authority. And I believe it's changing whether people like it or not. People don't like authority. They think they do, but they don't. And that's why we have things like Bitcoin. That's why we have social media, where we can just decentralize. We don't even need the phone anymore. We don't need email anymore. It's decentralizing away from those centralized things. And even now with Facebook and YouTube trying to clamp down, we're going to do away with you guys if you do that. I'm already on Steemit. I'm already on DTube. We're getting off of these platforms where you guys abuse, and decentralizing where it gives us the authority, where we can make the money. And that is the way of the future. And eventually, if Steemit gets that way, there's going to be another platform that comes up. It's getting to the point where the banks, the governments, the central corporate, the big mega corporations no longer have control. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And this is the way I see Trump is trying to push us. So if you don't like the Afghanistan thing, you probably don't understand what's going on around the world. Afghanistan is a key in the Middle East to all of our other things, just like Guam is a key to the Pacific region, and South Korea is a key to getting next to China. All these little areas where we have allies are key, and China is the biggest threat right now because they're growing, yet they're still communist. They sort of went capitalist, semi-capitalist, but they're still oppressive. And so China needs to be changed. They need to become less oppressive, still maintain their capitalism, and then, only then can we have a better world. Because the world can be science fiction world. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. It can be technologically advanced. We could be traveling throughout the universe if we'd all finally band together and realize that we're human beings. We have different cultures, but love the different cultures. Stop this I'm against the white supremacists. I'm against the black supremacists. I'm against all supremacists that think that their people are better. Honestly, I think that the Russians are the strongest people. We've seen it throughout history. And so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Does that mean I'm not strong? I'm strong. So what if somebody's the strongest? I don't care. I'm strong too. Don't be pussies. Celebrate everybody's strength instead of complaining about your weakness. And then we'll have a better world. Sorry. Celebrate your strengths instead of complaining about your weaknesses, and we'll have a better world. Sorry, my connection cut out for a sec and it paused my video, but that's the end of my video. Love y'all. God bless you. Have a good one. That eclipse was badass. Nothing bad happened yet. Some of the things that I predicted in my last video that I wasn't able to post yet didn't happen, which is good. I was wrong for once, and I'm happy with that because I really didn't want that. But the Yellowstone caldera is still a concern, and the debt in America is still a concern, and the stock market is crazy overvalued. So still a concern. All right? Love y'all. Take care.